Dragon tells the story of Raya, who is a lone warrior living in the world of Kumandra. After being separated from her family, living in a divided world, she takes it upon herself to unify all of the disparate lands of Kumandra and bring the world back together. Hello everyone, my name is Carlos López Estrada. I am one of the two directors of Raya and the Last Dragon.
Hi everyone, my name is Fawn Veerasunthorn. I'm the head of story on Raya and the Last Dragon. The scene you're about to see after the whole action-packed scene earlier, we just want to single in on Raya's relationship with her dad.
The purpose of the scene is to introduce us to the world of Kumandra, to show us that there's 5 different lands and that they are perceived as enemy lands. And then Benja very cleverly uses the soup as a tool to explain to her that even though the lands are separate, they shouldn't be.
On the first shot, we use a lot of the technique of the frame within the frame for this film, and that was inspired from our research trip where we go through Southeast Asia. A lot of the places we've been, there's a lot of the use of long corridor, and anywhere you look or take photos, there's a frame within the frame, and the top of each of these building structures, you see the principle of using repetition in design. And that is the very principle of Southeast Asian temple design that we kind of adapt. And in the next shot, you'll see a little bit of the fantasy animal to make sure that you clock that this is not a real world. And in this shot, we want to show the daily life in Southeast Asia. And every morning you go and you do something to pay respects to the invisible world.
We decided to add this cloth wipe transition just to make it a little bit snappier. I think we probably saw 10 versions of this animation just because we like to explore things until we're out of time, and then we landed on a very simple solution, but it felt right. You know what I was just thinking, Fawn? If we could go back and do over, I would probably add a little bit of a focus shift. You know, the background could have been a little blurry and then we do a shift to find them. Next time. I think we specifically liked here the contrast between Benja and Raya. You see him walking all proper, hands behind his back, and then Raya comes in just kicking and screaming and rolling around, and it just very clearly shows the two characters. I would like to point out that Fawn was one of the key promoters of making Benja look so attractive.
And Adele Lim, can't leave her out of that.
And Adele Lim. The New York Times wrote a whole article featuring Benja's hotness, so thank you, Fawn and Adele.
I'm glad you feel prepared, Dewdrop, because I have something important to tell you.
If you ever zoom in to their fabric pattern, what we found is that in Southeast Asia, if there's a specific flowers or animals that's really common in that area, it will show up in what they wear. Heart is about water and their relationship with the dragon. And if you look at Raya's cape, at the bottom, there's an image of raindrop.
Even if you look here at the handrail and the figure that is repeated throughout, it's a water drop, and there's a lot of that motif throughout all of Heart.
Tell me what you know about the other lands.
First, tail.
For this little sequence, everything has outlines. The colors are rendered a lot flatter. It gave us this really interesting look that we liked just whenever Raya went into her fantasies. And you can see, as we were talking about with the land identities, if you look at the first one, this is Tail. It's at the very, very edge of Kumandra. It's an arid landscape. They live off of the land, and their colors are warm and yellow and earthy tones, so you get to see it very clearly here. Fawn, anything that you want to say about Talon?
I just want to point out how if you ever walk the night market anywhere in Asia, this is the exact vibe you'll get. And I thought it would be awesome to put durian in here, even though to throw durian in the air and cut it like this, it's probably not that realistic, but hey. I don't know when else I will see durian in a Disney movie.
Durian's this incredible fruit from the region that is specific for many reasons, but one of them is the incredibly strong smell.
Yeah, and we thought that it's important that Deng Hai is not yeah, it smells. He's yes, smells good.
Spine.
So this is land of Spine. Spine is up north in the mountains. Vine has the fame of being this home of warrior community, and they're formidable, and they have like a squinty face, like I'm gonna destroy you kind of look. The last of our lands is Fang. As you can tell, all the geometry is sharp. They got insane looking battle cats. So we here introduce them as like the ultimate baddie. And that shows you really sort of like one of the main ideas in the movie, which is that we really shouldn't be making assumptions on people based on where they live. Also, there's a hidden Mickey in this little Fang bit. So if you want to pause it somewhere in there, you may or may not find the silhouette of Mickey Mouse hidden somewhere in here. I'm not gonna tell you where it is because then that defeats the purpose.
Okay, so we're gonna need some crossbows and catapults and what about flaming catapults?
We always have this passion to put food in this film. And I took a Thai cooking class, and I remember the chef at the time was saying that like Southeast Asian cooking is just about putting things that on paper they don't go well together, like bitter, salty, sweet, all those 5 flavors. But somehow when they come together, it's reflective of this region lifestyle of like people coming from different places, and it's such a perfect way to state the theme of the movie.
I was trying to convince Fawn that we should eat some soup while we did this interview today, and she kindly passed on the idea.
We were once unified, harmoniously as one.
We were thinking of this scene sort of as our Simba and Mufasa moment at the top of The Lion King, where Mufasa sort of like states the big idea of the movie. And even though he's not around for the rest of it, like the philosophy resonates so strongly in Simba that it's essentially what drives him. And this scene played like a very similar function.
When I see this shot, I'm reminded of like any time that we talk about Kumandra and harmony and togetherness, they like the use of the bokeh effects.
Yeah. Long lenses with like beautiful blurry background, and you see all the bokeh light, just like really, really dreamy and aspirational. So to wrap things up, I would say that it's also a good opportunity to talk about our set extension and matte painting, which is, very nerdy animation terms. But so set extension is just everything that goes sort of like beyond what's built. In this particular shot, Raya and Benja are obviously CG characters. They're fully 3-dimensional. The building that they're in is also CG and fully 3-dimensional. And then everything beyond that, like the mountain range, the river, the sky, is painted flatly. And these are called matte paintings. And then it's all composited together. I've only been around Disney animation for a little bit, but they tell us that this scene utilizes set extension and matte painting techniques that have never been done before, at least in Disney animation, just because the level of detail and the scope of our world was so huge that there's so many matte paintings. And as a button, I will just say, just imagine how much cooler it would have been if we had been eating soup throughout this whole thing. Fun. Next time.
You're right, Carlos. Next time, we'll be eating on camera.